Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Shit's Hard. I'm your host, Amber. And today we are talking about how capitalism does not want you to build community. Let's get into it. First, I just need to rant for like literally 0.2 seconds. I wanted to film this episode 3 hours ago. And it was just one of those fucking days where literally like my interface was like picking up the mic. It was like, you're good. Like we can hear it. And my laptop was like, there's nothing plugged in. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? The way that the interface works is that it's taking power from the laptop. It doesn't work if it's not plugged into the laptop. So I was like, what the fuck is going on? It took me 3 hours. I was on Reddit posts. I was Googling shit. I was fucking literally bending over backwards. I updated my laptop. I updated GarageBand. I updated my Focusrite. I think that was finally the one that did it, like fixed the issue. But I was losing my mind a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I was losing my mind a little bit. I don't know if y'all are quick to anger. I am. I lose my patience so fast. And I'm really proud of how I handled this, because typically when this kind of setback would happen for 3 hours, I would like start to get pissed and be like, it's my fucking day off. This isn't what I wanted to do spending my day. I want to be done recording by now. I had plans to go, pick up some errands. But I was like, you know what? It's okay. You have the time. It's not a big deal. Realistically, this is the first tech issue I've had on this season. And it's episode 10. So just... And that's on regulating our emotions, which I'm working on, and I'm a work in progress. Let me say that. Anyways, let's get into it, because I really was excited to talk about this, and I've been like seeing some TikToks about this type of content, or content. I guess so. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna talk about friendships, and we're gonna talk about like building community and how those things go together, and then how capitalism doesn't fucking want you to have friends. Maybe I should have titled it that. Maybe I'll title it that. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so I just realized today my longest friendship is pretty much at 20 years now. I turned 25 this year. She turns 25 this month, and we met when we were about 4, like probably right before kindergarten. We met in like a pre-kindergarten, like pre-K, fucking daycare situation. I'll have to ask her. But yeah, being 25 and having, well, I'm not 25 yet. I have 3 months, but being 24 and having a 20-year-old long friendship is fucking crazy. That's insane. A lot of my closest friends came from middle school. So I also wanted to touch on the fact in this episode, maybe I'll do like another episode more about like friends and stuff, but most of my long-term close friendships are from middle school. Having moved across the country, the people that I keep in contact with the most are from middle school. Obviously I went to high school with them like too, because we were in the same area, but like they're not really my college friends. I know a lot of people are like, college is the best time of your life. You're going to meet all your lifelong friends. And I really didn't. So all that to say, we're going to talk more about building community. So I was watching this video where this creator was talking about how her mom is really big on building community, and how if you just throw her in a random state, she was like, she'll have 50 close friends in 3 months, like whatever. And she was talking about like doing things for other people. And she was like, my mom would pick up your daughter from the airport. And when she'd pick her up, she'd have a fucking snack, a thing of trail mix, and a bottle of water for her. And when she gets home from dropping off your daughter, she's not gonna fucking write it down, keep the tally, and like, you owe her now. Like, it's just about doing shit for other people when they need something and you have something to offer. And I love that concept. Going in on that, I've also been seeing more content about how I saw this guy's TikTok, which inspired me to make this video, which was about, he was talking about how capitalism doesn't want you to like have your friend take you to the airport. And it was all about how community is going to save you money. Like, in a lot of time, like we have like this like loneliness epidemic. People are very isolated, and we're more isolated now than we ever have been before. And you'll notice this in your own life. Like, I noticed this in LA when I'm sitting in traffic and I look around and like the closest 50 cars I can see have one person in it. That's weird. It's very weird. And my friend was like, I don't really understand what you mean. Like, what does he mean by like capitalism doesn't want your friend to take you to the airport? This is what I mean. Capitalism thrives off of you being isolated because you have to pay for more. Because if your friend doesn't take you to the airport, you have to pay for Uber. You're going to pay $50, $60, and that's money in some fucking CEO's pocket, rather than your friend taking you getting some quality time with them, you also feeling loved and cared for and taken care of, and you kind of formulating and like pushing a bond with somebody else. It's like a win-win situation. Community is a win-win situation. Not to mention doing something for other people instills in us a concept of importance, a concept of like purpose, you know? Like when I take my friend to the airport, I feel good. I feel like, I help them out. I feel glad that they didn't have to spend $70 on an Uber, which is fucking insane. And I just got to take them instead. And then, I took that burden off them. So I feel good. They feel good and taken care of. And also capitalism fucking suffers because we didn't pay them. So like, it's this, that's like one isolated thing, but it's like expansive. It's so much bigger than that, right? Like if you even think about like people living alone, like living like in a one bedroom, like by yourself, is kind of a crazy concept. Like think about like a fucking 50 unit apartment complex, and everyone lives alone in their one bedroom, and everyone in there has like a cheese grater and a lettuce turner and a muffin pan, and every single person has these items, but they don't use them often, right? Maybe one person bakes a lot, so they use their muffin pan more, but maybe one person makes a lot of fresh pasta, so they use their cheese grater more, and maybe one person never really cooks, but they just kind of have it. And think of all this crap in this 50 unit apartment complex. Think of all the crap, the material goods that consumerism told us we had to buy, and every individual apartment has all this shit, which is kind of crazy. But if you think about it, like if everybody just shared, like, you know what I mean? Like if it was like, hey, I don't really cook muffins a lot, but like I was thinking about making them like once a year. Like, could I borrow your muffin pan? That's saying fuck you to capitalism, because we don't need to buy shit that we use once a year. Obviously, if it's different if you use it all the time, like if you're into baking and stuff. But if you literally bake once a year, you know what I mean, somebody's birthday, whatever, and you're like, hey, can I borrow your muffin pan? Like, that's community. And then that person being able to be like, yeah, of course you can borrow my muffin pan. Like, and it's not a tit for tat, but then it's like later on down the line when it's like, hey, I'm out of like eggs. Like, would you mind if I borrow or whatever? Hey, I was wondering if I could borrow your cheese grater. Like, something like that. Like we have this reciprocal cycle of community in needing other people, which as humans, I think we hate this in like modern day capitalism. We need other people. You need other people. I don't give a fuck how much money you have. We are human. We are supposed to be around each other. We are supposed to be reliant on each other. That's why we need friends to validate our feelings. When we already know how we feel about something, I need somebody to be like, you're right, Amber. Like, I agree. Like, we need a fucking pat on the back. Like, if you existed in a vacuum with no other human beings, not to be cynical, but you'd already be dead. Like, you'd be gone. We literally need other human beings, not just physically, but like emotionally. And I think to care for other humans uplifts us as much as to be cared for by other people and peers, and especially being somebody who moved across the country, right? So I don't have family here, and I live in LA. Okay, so LA is like, I swear to God, it's like 10 years ahead of Ohio. Like it's just like more advanced. It's like progressed, and things that are happening in LA slowly happen in Ohio like 10 years after they happen here. And that's like technology and all that kind of stuff. But the farther that we push into capitalism, the more isolated we become and the less community that we have. Like, I can't even, like, I'm trying to I'm on the pursuit of finding friends who are interested in community. And I, want to contribute to this as much as they contribute to community, especially being away from home. Like a lot of things are deemed like appropriate to ask your family or your parents, but not your peers. That's also something I've never really abided by. The way that I view friendship, and I'm not saying like I'm like a credible source, but like, to be honest with you, I have a lot of really high quality friends, like a good handful. Granted, they're scattered around, some are in Ohio and North Carolina and whatever. But these are high quality people. Like really, like they would do for me. They would help me out, and as would I. And I get to talk to them, once every 3 or 6 months, and every time it's like, we pick up where we left off at. You have to see your friends as family. Like you have to like. They have to. You can't just be like, oh well, you're not my blood, so go fucking take your own ass to the airport. But if it was like, you know what I mean? I've always been a big fan of blood. Doesn't mean shit. It really doesn't. People are people, human are humans, you know? If you're religious in the Bible and stuff, it's like love thy neighbor. It's not love people who are of blood relation to you. Actually, if you believe in the Bible and religion and Christianity, it goes all the way back to say, like, we're all of the same blood. We are all of the same person. That would mean we are all family. Every single human that you've ever interacted with would be your family. And I don't know, I choose to see it that way because, like, I just think, like, if somebody else needs something and I can very reasonably help them out, or maybe even not that reasonably, but no, I'm gonna say reasonably help them out. Taking someone to the airport is reasonable. Like, obviously, somebody fucking like living in your house for like a year for free, like, this is, you know what I mean? There's levels to it. But if somebody needs something, they have a need, and I have like an accommodation for that need, and I can very reasonably help them out, why would I not? Like, I really would encourage you to like ask yourself, like, why would I not? I had this like situation happen like a couple months ago. I don't know, maybe 6-8 months ago. This guy that I used to talk to that kind of ghosted me. We were like connecting again because I was getting my sweatshirt back from him, whatever. And he called and he was like, hey, like, I can't meet up. Like, my car broke down. Like, I'm in the area, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, that's awful. Like, are you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, do you want me to, like, do you need a ride home? Like, I can, like, give you, and he's like, ah. And I could tell he felt awkward because, like I said, he had ghosted me. It was an uncomfortable situation. But like I said, we were already planning on meeting up. So I wasn't doing anything. Like, I wasn't busy. And he was like, yeah, but honestly, like, that would really help me out. I'm like, yeah, no worries. Go pick him up. He leaves his car at the dealer or at the mechanic, take him back, get my sweatshirt. I'm like, whatever. We chat, have a good life, whatever. I leave. And one of my friends was like, why? Like, why the fuck are you helping this guy out? And I was like, don't get me wrong. Like, fuck that guy for ghosting me. Like, I'm not interested in pursuing him. But, like, he's a human and I'm another human. And he's like, mind you, he's like in my area. Like, wherever he was like, it had to be like 5 minutes out of my way to help this guy out. And I was like, why would I not? Like, what kind of life is that to just be like an asshole to other people, or just be like, I'm not going out of my way for you because I don't see a benefit for me. Fuck that. Like, I don't need to see a benefit. Like, if I just, like, I put myself in his shoes and I'm like, fuck. Like, if I was trapped on a random fucking Wednesday at 1 p.m., my car broke down, my friends were busy, whatever the case, and I just, like, I wanted to get home because they were gonna have to keep my car overnight, like, I'd be stressed, and I would really kill for somebody that I at least remotely know to just help me out, right? Because what's the alternative? Public transport? Maybe. Although I don't really know. He lives kind of like up a hill. That's like an option. You probably have to walk quite a bit, but that's an option. Or Uber, right? Fuck capitalism. Like, no. Like, I'm like, what? Like, there's no reason for me not to help another human out when I can very reasonably accommodate. And I think that's that selfishness of, like, a lot of us, like, in society has, like, kind of shaped us to be very selfish, to be very, like, you know, call your own Uber, whatever the fuck. I was watching this TikTok a while ago that went kind of viral. This, like, guy, he's in his 30s and he's, like, doing this prank where he's not really moving, but he calls his friends and tells them that he's moving, and he's like, would you help me move? And all of them were like, no, like, get movers. And the comments were split, like 50-50. They were like, yeah, like, we're 30 years old. Like, get fucking movers. Like, no, like, I'm not, like, we're not fucking 18 anymore. And the other half were like, like, you should get new friends. Like, that kind of sucks. And, like, to be completely honest with you, like, I agree. I think, like, his friends kind of suck. Like, obviously, it depends, obviously. Like, let's say he lives in a fucking mansion and he has fucking 5 bedrooms and there's, like, a fuckload of furniture. Like, fucking 5 beds, multiple couches, like, big-ass heavy shit. It might just be resources better put toward movers, I would say. But, like, let's say he lives in a 1-bedroom and, like, the biggest furniture he has is, like, a queen-size bed and, like, a couch. You know? Like, and mind you, these are things he very literally can't get by himself. You would need another person to, like, get a couch or or whatever the fuck. I think that's where we talk about, like, we want a village, but we want a village, but we don't want to be a villager. And that's a TikTok that I also just saw the other day. I can't remember who these creators were. But she was talking about how everyone wants they want a village, they don't want to be a villager. And that's what it takes to have a village. You have to be able to give. You have to show up for your friends when they're moving. You have to show up for your friends when they need a ride to the airport. Like, it's more than just emotional support. You need to physically support your friends. And to be completely honest with you, in the last year or so, I've shed quite a bit of friends who are not willing to show up for me physically. Like, maybe if I called them crying, yeah, they'd be like, yeah, like, what's up? Like, they'd listen to me. But even still, I would say like 3 people I can think of who I've like kind of like distanced myself from, 2 of which definitely if I called crying would like help me out, and then like later like make fun of me for it. Or be like, oh, she always goes crying. One of them, not at all. That person would definitely be like very empathetic and whatever. But when it came to physically showing up for me, like my roommate had moved out and taken all the furniture, and I was like, I need to get a couch. And I very literally, I have, this one picked out and I need to move it here. I very literally can't go and pick it up by myself. Like I need a second set of hands. Um, three people that I was like, I really thought were like my close friends were like, can't you ask someone else? Like, have you asked so-and-so yet? I just helped you last week with the dining room table. And when I tell you my apartment was literally vacant, it was vacant. There was not a single thing in the living room or the kitchen. Like, that girl owned everything and I owned nothing. And so I needed a dining room table, but I also needed chairs, but I also needed a couch, and I also needed a TV. Like, I needed to get all this stuff. Mind you, I'm under a lot of stress because I'm trying to furnish my apartment so that my mental health doesn't tank. Financially, I'm under a lot of stress because this was a pretty big expense that I didn't see coming. And then on top of that, I need like the physical, like the physical part of trying to get a big, a truck and move big furniture around. Like, this was a lot on my plate. And I was pretty disappointed in my friends at that time who were like really not showing up for me, or they'd show up once and then kind of complain about it, or ask me if I could just ask someone else the next time because they already like did their due diligence. And I just was like, that really sucks. It felt awful thinking like how much I would definitely do for these people, but that's neither here nor there. I've just kind of started to not spend my time with those kind of people. And my life has honestly been significantly better. I've really surrounded myself with people who just show up. I had a friend who is now my boyfriend, but he was my friend back at this point in time. We were not that close. And I told him I was moving, and he was helping me get couches or whatever. And when he dropped off the couches, he was like, do you need help with anything else today? And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm trying to hang these curtains, but like I'm struggling because like, like this drill, and I don't even know how to use it and whatever. And he's like, oh, like, let me help you out. Stayed like an extra 3 hours with me, just helping me do things around the house that like needed to get done because I was trying to furnish this whole apartment by myself. I had another roommate that was coming to move in like 2 months, so she wasn't going to be there. And she was coming from Ohio, so she didn't fucking have shit either. So like hence why he's my boyfriend now, because he's amazing and he's just a very generous person. And I would like, that's one thing I like about him is I want to be more like him. Like, he wasn't like, of course he had feelings for me, whatever, but he wasn't doing it so that I would like him. He was doing it because I needed help. And he was like, she needs help. Like, and I can very reasonably accommodate with that help. Like, a lot of the stuff that I needed was just like 2 sets of hands. Like, I can't fucking mount a TV by myself. I just can't. And so super grateful for kind of restructuring that friend group. It's really hard, but I think that's how you build community, is show up for these people when they need you to, and they'll show up for you when you need. And it's not a tit for tat, and it's not a you've been needing more from me. It's people need something, and so you help them out. And obviously, like, you need to be aware of being taken advantage of and stuff. I've certainly had my go with that as well, but I can't even imagine any of my friends taking an Uber to the airport when I'm fucking sitting at home. Like, I really can't. I had another friend who I got locked out of my apartment, and my old roommate had already moved out, but she was like in downtown LA. She was drunk. She was like, I have the key, but I can't bring it to you. Like, if you can get to me, I'll give you another key to the apartment. And so I called one of my friends, because I was locked out of my apartment, so I didn't have my car keys. So I couldn't drive there. And it's like 10 p.m. on a Friday night, and I called my friend. I was like, hey, do you think that you could come get me and take me to downtown LA? I need to get this key to the apartment. I'm locked out. It's 10 p.m. I got my dog. Like, this is a whole thing. And he's like, that doesn't really sound fun. Have you tried calling your landlord? I'm like, what? I'm your female friend at 10 p.m. locked out of my apartment in Los Angeles alone. Granted, I do have my dog, but yes, I already tried all means into the apartment. I already contacted my landlord. Their emergency line is just fucking goes to voicemail. And I already found a solution to the problem. I just need a ride. And mind you, it probably would have been like 15 minutes downtown, like maybe 20. I don't know. I mean, it's Friday at 10 o'clock at night. And who ended up coming? Mike, my now boyfriend, at the time friend, who I was still not that close to, but I ended up calling because I was desperate. And my other close friend, she was like in a movie, so her fucking phone is silenced and shit. And so yeah, I called Mike, and I was like, are you available? Like, I'm sorry to bug you, like, I know we're not that close, and I don't really, he doesn't ask me for much, but I was like, I can I have a ride? And he's like, yeah, of course. Comes, picks me up, takes me, and I was like venting on the way there. I was like, this friend of mine who I'm like, so allegedly close to, like, it is literally in his hot tub right now. How could you get in your hot tub and sit down and relax, knowing that your friend is locked out of her apartment? I don't get it. That could never be me, and I never want to be that person. And I always try to show up for my friends when they need me. They need a ride to the airport. They need me to watch their dog while they're gone. No worries. Like, my one friend was like, oh, can you watch my dog while I'm gone? Like, I'll pay you. I was like, no, you don't pay your friends to watch your dog. What the fuck's wrong with you? Don't fucking charge your friend. Like, no, don't do that shit. Like, this is community. This is family. We show up for people when we can. If I have the means to accommodate, to help you out, to make your life easier, I'm gonna do that for you, and I know it's gonna come back to me. And it doesn't have to be this like tit for tat. I know she's got me when I need something. Like, no worries at all. And I don't know, it's hard in LA. Making friends is hard. Making friends as an adult is hard. Keeping and cultivating relationships is hard. Knowing your bandwidth of like how much can you really help. But I just think if you're not helping someone out simply because you don't see a benefit in it for you, or it seems like an inconvenience, or you just don't really feel like it, don't sit around wondering why you're lonely. You know what I mean? Don't ask why you haven't built community, why you don't have a village, because you're not a villager. You're not a team player. And, interestingly enough, I've noticed with a lot of the people who were kind of like letting me down, my friends at the time who I thought were my friends, are all from the area and they have family here. So I'm like, maybe they don't need as much from me as I would need from them, because I don't have family here, right? So if my family was around, my dad would take me to the airport. My dad would be helping me move. But I don't know. I like to give that excuse, but reality is it's not an excuse. My parents they've got their pros and cons, but when I was young, my parents were pretty good at fostering community. They were pretty big on like somebody in the community, even if they're not that close, like, oh, so-and-so's, they just lost their grandma this week. My mom would be making a casserole. She'd be making a lasagna. Like, she would always say, like, the last thing you want to fucking think about is eating or making dinner for your family when you just fucking lost a loved one. Bring them food, bring them dinner. Then they don't got to worry about it. They don't got to pay for it. They don't got to order pizza. Like, there you go. And so recently, actually, this week, one of my close clients, I've had her for over a year now. She unfortunately lost her mom. She was a little bit older and she was in hospice. So it was kind of expected, but still heartbreaking nonetheless. And so my first thought was like, how do I show up for her? This is a close client of mine, and she showed up for me in many ways. Like, this client, like, every time there's like a holiday, and she knows I'm from Ohio, and she's older. She's like, she'll always make jokes like she's my LA mom. And around the holidays, she'll make sure, she'll be like, do you have plans for Thanksgiving? What are you doing for Christmas? Like, she'll make sure that I have somewhere to be on these holidays, because she doesn't want me to be alone. And it's just so thoughtful, and she doesn't have to do that. And she's Jewish, so she invited me to their Hanukkah this past year. I wasn't able to go, but just the thought that she was like checking in around the holidays, like, do you have somewhere to be? Like, it was so thoughtful, and I appreciated it so much. And so, hearing the news that her mom had passed, I was like, what can I do? And I was like, I don't know if I can make a lasagna. So I opted for like a banana bread loaf. I was like, let me bring her some banana bread. She said on Monday she wasn't working. She was going to stay home and decompress. I was like, amazing. I was like, I won't be quick. I won't be long at all. I just want to drop this off. Like, hopefully munching on some banana bread, make things a little bit more bearable. So I just think it's so important to show up for people, and not a tit for tat, but just like, as you would want them to show up for you. I mean, the golden fucking rule: treat others the way that you would want to be treated. Show up for others the way that you would want them to show up. Life is fucking hard. We go through shit. It sucks. And just knowing, I think going through hard shit and just knowing that you have people that give a fuck about you and are there for you can make it more bearable. Like, can just make life less like taxing. It's just knowing, like, I mean, I hope the banana bread maker made her feel good. Like, I hope she was like, oh, I feel cared for. I feel loved and supported in a time where I fucking feel like everything sucks, So that's how you build community. That's my biggest advice, is fucking just do shit for people. Just fucking help out. Anytime I can, I'm fucking 24. I'm not fucking like rolling in dough by any means. But like with my close friends, I mean, we go get coffee. Like, yeah, I'll fucking get their coffee because next time she gets mine. It's just, we just go back and forth like that. Like, it's family. It's like, there's no need to be like, hey, you owe me $5.72. It's like, relax. Like, some things aren't that deep. You show up for them when they need you, and everyone's needs are going to be different. So it's just like, I don't know. That's what I'm all about. I've tried to carry that throughout. I've even had that, like, luckily I've had that with my roommate experiences for a long time too. My best roommates were in college. Allison and Sophia, we lived together for 2 years, and it was probably the best roommate situation I feel like I've had. We ran the house like a family. There was one year we did this, which the next year we didn't, but there was one point in time where we were like, one of us would get groceries each week, and then like they would kind of like cook and like make dinner and meals throughout the week, and we could all like add things to the list. And then that's kind of how we got like soap and paper towels and shit too. And it's like, sure, some of us are picky eaters, but it's like, I also like learned a lot of different recipes from Allison because she would cook things that I never really cooked. She makes like, I probably had like grilled zucchini like the first time from her. And so it's like, that's community. That's how you build lifelong friendships. And even I was shocked in the midst of the fires, that guy who probably like months ago, I don't know, so this was fucking like July or August, when I was supposed to get my sweatshirt back, and I picked him up, and took him to his house because his car broke down. He contacted me throughout the fires. I was like, hey, just want to check in, like make sure, you're good, dog's good, you didn't have to evacuate. It's like, oh, I didn't expect to hear from you ever again. But I was like, oh yeah, good, thanks, whatever. And then my ex-best friend, who I kind of stopped being friends with, we ended on good terms. Like, I wish nothing but the best from her. She had checked in with me around the fires, and I was like, hey, is everything okay? Are you okay with the fires? Did you get evacuated? Like, that's community. I've built community even with my ex-best friend. Like, even with my ex-boyfriend. I talked to him for the first time yesterday in like 6 months probably. Just because I'm going home in like 2 weeks, and I have fucking stuff at his mom's storage unit, and I was like, and it's in Ohio, and him and I both live here, so I was like, hey, when I go home, can I see if I can get this stuff back from the storage unit? Whatever. But he was like, yeah, let me check in with my mom. And he was like, oh, how is Princess doing, the dog? And I kind of gave him a little update on her health and stuff, and I sent him some photos. I was like, how is King doing, And he gave me a little update and sent me some photos, and it's like, I don't need to hear from him more than once every 6 months, but like, that's community. That's humanity. That's people being able to be civil, Like, we had 4 happy years together. There's no reason to be spiteful and hateful. And, he has this dog that I still love very much, and I have a dog that he loves very much. And I'm so grateful that him and I are both mature enough to have this conversation and, and be able to share some photos of the dogs and keep it pushing. And, I'm grateful I'm still able to even get the stuff out of the storage unit because we didn't burn that bridge. I didn't burn the bridge. He didn't burn the, like, we're cool, Same thing with my ex-best friend. Like, she's, her and I are cool. God forbid something really fucking shit hits the fan. She needs something. She knows she can call. And I just feel like that is what it is to be human, and to burn all these bridges and to be angry with people and to hold grudges until you die over like superficial surface level shit. It's like, it's not that deep, Like, him and I didn't work out in a relationship. It's not that deep. We can still be civil. There's no need to be so much hate. And I think, like, especially he gets it, and my ex-best friend gets it, and I get it, because I think part of that is us not being from LA. None of us have any family here. And so we know what it's like to feel isolated and feel like you don't have anyone to lean on. At the end of the day, they've got one person. They've got me. If some shit really fucking happens, if they really need something, yeah, you can call me. Yeah, my ex could fucking call me. Like, I'd fucking show up. Like, of course, anything happened to that damn dog, I'd fucking be there. And we've both moved on since. We're both in relationships now, and it's like, we move on. Like, life continues, and I just think life's so short to just be so, like, angry over surface level shit when it's like, I don't know. I feel proud of myself and and grateful to have them, to have this like healthy dynamic, because life is hard. I think life is hard, and to not have humans on your side to show up for you when you need them, it just sucks. It's just, life is worse. And so, fuck capitalism. Like, I think we should all Uber less. Like, fuck Uber. It's so fucking expensive and stupid and bad for the environment. Like, hang out with your bestie, buy them a coffee on the way, and fucking ask your friend to take you to the airport. So capitalism doesn't want you to build community. I want you to build community because you're going to be happier. You're going to be less isolated. Your quality of life is going to go up. Your mental health is going to go up. And your fucking spending and financial spending on stupid shit is going to go down. And wastefulness and consumerism is going to go down. Fucking carbon footprint's going to go down. So anyways, it's all win-win across the board. Fuck capitalism. That's what we're fucking thinking on this week. That's the shit that's hard this week. So if you're struggling to build community, I'm sorry, that sucks. I'm right there with you. And, you know, I would just show up for people. Even without thinking about like, oh, this better fucking come back to me. You know, just show up for people. And the right people will eventually show up for you too. So that's what I got this week. I will see you on the next one because this shit is hard.